Welcome to Beacons of Light.
Yeah, so Sri, I think in one of our conversations, we talked a little bit about my background and working in the Coast Guard and, in thinking about emergency preparedness and emergency management, similar issues of disparity in preparedness, disparity in how, social factors weigh into response. So could you talk a little bit about social factors and the ways in which they come into play as, we look at first we were looking at disparate impacts of COVID based on various societal factors, and now we're seeing, with uptick on vaccinations and other, advice that's being given or opportunities being made for, for treatment. What do you think are the social factors behind that based on your research?
Sure. I can get into that a little bit. But before talking about that, I wanted to also talk about emergency preparedness and how important it is. This pandemic, if it has taught us nothing else, one thing that we have really learned is that we need to be prepared, for the next potential pandemic, because as I have identified in myself and other researchers in our social change grant that we are working on, that this is in fact a pandemic era. Every 2 to 3 years, we're seeing patterns of, say, if you go back 10 years ago, with the pandemic that's been there, we're seeing patterns, and so emergency preparedness is at the centerpiece of this, and I think requires a lot more focus. But going back to the point at hand that you raised, very importantly, talking about social factors. When I first, start talking about this, and I've had, numerous conversations about this with my colleagues as well. Dr. Angela Pren, we have been, and in conversations and social factors. One of the biggest things that is important is to have a good model, and the tree is a really practical model to understand social factors. Three things in a tree, right? Branches, the trunk, and then the roots. So if we think about the branches, we're thinking about the outcomes that we're thinking about. So if we're thinking about mortality outcomes, increase. So it was seen through research that